putting on the lenses of jobs to be done. There may be an existing good idea that's not quite right, or the company doesn't quite know which things matter more than others. Right. We have an example in the book, which is now a huge success story, of Onstar, the satellite communication system, which initially started out as an entrepreneurial division within General Motors, but as they called it brochureware. It was just supposed to be cool and did everything. You could press the button and ask for the best pizza place nearby. People started pressing the button and doing silly things like, we're having a debate. We can't remember the name of the 7 dwarfs. Who's the 6th one? Is there a grumpy? They were doing exactly everything because they could, and it's fun for a little while, but absent an understanding of the job to be done that people would use that to hire, it just becomes too much, and that it's nothing special to anyone. It's just a lot of things, and that's what would be an easy mistake for people to make, is add everything we can add because we can. Right. When they came to understand, using the theory of jobs to be done, that people were hiring OnStar for peace of mind while driving. Right. Keep me safe, my children safe, allow me peace of mind while driving. That's a very clear filter for what matters and what doesn't matter. Yeah. If the job is keep me safe while driving, keep me peace of mind, the pizza place doesn't matter as much. And guess what? Lots of competitors have come in that space. You can go on Yelp. Right. You can use your sat nav to get directions. But peace of mind while driving is a complicated set of things that will enable that. It's the ability for crash information to get to the right help right away. It's the knowing that somebody will talk to you if you're having problems. All of those things which have made OnStar incredibly successful. Mm-hmm. But until they really honed in on the job to be done, it had the potential just to be an expensive, all singing, all dancing gadget, but not a long-term success. And as a result of understanding the job to be done, it has been a long-term success, really successful.
Right, and kind of back to your Intuit QuickBook example, fewer features, narrower focus, but a much stronger value proposition because they were squarely placed
the right
on the
things
job.
For the job, exactly. And it sounds like we may be using our language and making fine distinctions, but it's really powerful. And when a company or you've identified personally a job to be done, it just makes sense. You know you have it right. There's something intuitive about it that feels right, and it makes it much easier to make the decisions about what matters and what doesn't matter in how you're going to proceed with that product or service. Yeah. I know personally I always laugh when I think that someone's nailed the job to be done in some way. You talked about Reese's Minis being a really big success story. Or the fact that Reese's Minis, the bag that opens and seals back up, and there are no gold...
individually wrapped.
Exactly. Because there's no telltale pile of gold in your trash can. You don't know, did I eat that many? Taking that away, the job to be done, the guilt that came with the old version is gone. And it's very successful. You can put it where you want. You can grab them. It's a small job to be done, but it's an important one. Yeah. And filtering through the job to be done, don't use the gold wrappers. Right. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal. Well, especially if you're driving a car or something, you got to open those godforsaken little things. It's a
and they get crumbs on chocolate, telltale crumbs all over you. No, and you don't want to see the pile of 10 there.
No. No, and that's I often joke with clients because you go around the office and they all have fruit on their desks. I call it trophy fruit. Yeah. And then they've got their Reese's Minis and their candies in their desk.
Exactly.
Right? No one ever touches that banana. And
I'll tell you what they need to do now. They need to make them smell proof, because you always know when someone's been eating a Reese's peanut butter cup by the peanut butter smell.
That would be... I thought you were saying we could do a subscription service for rotating the fruit out. But
that would be smell proof too. Well. Exactly.
But anyway.
What's your favorite story in the book?
Gosh, that's you took some of the good ones. I love the American Girl doll story.
As a parent, it's just that's the thing I understood without knowing, having not yet talked to Pleasant Rowland when we started thinking about American Girl. When we started talking about American Girl, the 4 authors of the book were all parents. We all felt like we understood it right away. There was something that we might not have been able to articulate until we heard it or felt it and recognized that was what was going on with American Doll. We'd all spent $120 for one or more dolls and then for the accessories, because it allowed us to do something special with our daughters.
Yeah. I think, and you can talk about it probably more articulately than I can, but I think one of the other stories that's exciting is the Southern New Hampshire University story. Not only because it's a great innovation story, but there's such an impact on the lives of millions of people, and on the operational, organizational side, how thoroughly it transformed the operation of the university. And you went up there and spent time with the team. Do you want to talk about that last one?
There's a university in New Hampshire called Southern New Hampshire University, SNHU. You may have seen commercials for them because they're pretty present everywhere. And I'd actually been moved by some of the commercials before investigating further what was going on with Southern New Hampshire University.
They have good ads.
They have great ads.
Why you got the thing?
Their ads are squarely aimed at the job to be done. So Southern New Hampshire University was struggling like many middle kind of nondescript colleges were in America, say 10 years ago, where they knew for sure they were always competing with University of New Hampshire and Franklin Pierce. They knew their win rate, they knew their loss rate, it varied a little. They didn't see a lot of potential for growth. And for a university, these are difficult times. Finances are tight. So looking ahead, trying to find opportunities for growth, the president, a guy called Paul LeBlanc, actually came and was talking to Clay in a conversation about something else, and Clay introduced the jobs theory to him. And for him, it was just a light bulb. Wait, why do people hire Southern New Hampshire University? And as he and his team started trying to answer that questions for themselves, they realized there was not one answer to the question, there were two. Mm-hmm. The first answer to the question was the one we probably all know. 18-year-olds hire it for what Southern New Hampshire University calls the coming of age experience. Yeah. And for those 18-year-olds, they don't really care as much about the quality of research and the percentage of jobs afterwards. They want to know, am I going to have coffee with my professors and discuss the meaning of life? And is there a football team I can root for? Is there a rock climbing wall? I want to go to college to become who I am. And those things matter, and they matter to parents, but they don't matter profoundly to the 18-year-old. Right. And in that competition, again, they knew their competitors, and it was hard to see how they could distinguish themselves. But they had this little sleepy division, I think they called them distance learning at the time, where basically you could do some courses online working towards a degree that they had virtually ignored. But in spite of ignoring and having it in kind of another part of campus, they had actually made some interesting amount of revenue from it. But they thought about those students who were very different and the job to be done that they were hiring SNHU for, and it was very different. Typically, people who were hiring that distance learning opportunity had all the coming of age opportunities they could want and need. Yeah. They were parents, had come out of the military, they were later in a stage in their life. They didn't want or have time for coffee and climbing walls. Right. They wanted credentials to make their life better. I need to get that degree so that I can get a better job or I can improve my family's life. And when you even just have that aha realization that there's a different job to be done that those people are hiring the university for, everything changes, which it did for Southern New Hampshire University. So everything from the way they dealt with inquiries. So in the old days, if you sent off an email inquiry to get some more information, whether you were a 17 or 18-year-old or you were a 35-year-old, the same thing would happen. Yeah. 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you might get either something in the mail or you get an email response. It would be very slow. Or if you happened to be on the phone with someone and you wanted to know what your previous credits would count for having done some university, same process would happen. It would take a long time for them to get back to you and tell you. Now, if I'm a 35-year-old working two jobs, desperately wanting a new opportunity, those 2 weeks are forever for me. And maybe I won't do this after all. Yeah. If you start thinking about all of how they responded to and what they offered to the later life learner, they changed everything. They sketched out every way they dealt with it, and they realized we have to make this immediate. We have to serve them. We understand that maybe they won't be able to do homework always in the same timetable. Right. The course materials may be the same, but the experience of being a student needs to be totally different. And once they had that insight, they rebuilt everything around the job to be done from the distance learning perspective. And they have been a fantastic growth story. So from a university that looked like it would have had very little potential for growth and innovation, to it's been named as one of the most innovative educational institutions in America by multiple things. Yeah. President Barack Obama cited them not long ago for their innovation in education. They're just doing all kinds of things. Having had the fork in the road moment of understanding there were two distinct jobs to be done and they required totally different experiences and support from the university. Once they had that, everything fell into place. Yeah,
I love how you underscored the fact that they immerse themselves in that, the circumstances and the story of that later life learner, that it was, late at night, probably the kids were in bed. I have got a couple minutes to go online and check things out, and they're, at the end of a long day and they're online, and it was by kind of really visualize and bring that circumstance. They're like, you know what? Sending out the information packet a couple weeks later, we got to call them right now.
That's
right. They actually say, and I tested it. I think they do it. That in general, you will get a call back within 10 minutes if you're asking for that. Exactly, and that's because the circumstances of the struggle involve kitchen tables late at night for those people, and so to the extent that they can take those struggles away, I'll make it easy for you. They offer to, instead of now the old-fashioned process of you want previous transcripts to be taken into account, you have to order them, have them sent to us. They just say, we'll take care of it. Give us permission. We'll waive the fee. We'll take care of it. We'll get your transcript, and then we'll tell you what your courses and credits are. Take away the struggle. They've done everything to make it easier to hire SNHU than all the other alternatives, which include doing nothing. I'm going to stick with this job I don't like. I'm just going to hope I get noticed at work and get a promotion. They're not competing with other colleges in the exact same way. They're competing with all kinds of other inadequate, frustrating solutions for people. And when you're far more appealing at solving that job, as they've managed to do, that's where success comes.
And that's another great point. Successful innovators identify all those barriers to progress and consumption, and therefore they systematically remove those barriers and make it easier for people to buy their products to make the desired progress.
There was a graduation ceremony a couple of years ago at Southern New Hampshire University, and they allow distance learners to come to campus and have that graduation, which again, part of the job to be done is I want to feel proud of myself. I want my family. I may not be able to go to campus for my classes, but I get to be in the gown and the cap. It was a big deal, and they've gotten so big that they have to actually do it in the Verizon Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire, which is huge. And Paul Blank was giving the commencement ceremony, and I think they were doing 3 different ceremonies that day to accommodate all the people who came. And he just had to kind of pause for a moment and said, I just want to ask, anyone who's been in the military or is still serving in the military, please rise. Big chunk of people stood up. Anyone who is a parent, please rise. Anyone who is first generation from your family to go to college, please rise. By the time he got through the third, the audience was aware of what had just happened. The obstacles for those people to be standing there and getting that degree were they had been overcome, and it was a huge celebration. And I get emotional thinking about that because they provided something that those people may not have had any opportunity to do at all by thinking of what job they were hiring it to do. So when you see those commercials, there are ones that, they go around the country with the bus, right? There's one I love where there's a guy gets a little choked up. His son's got a hula hoop, and his son says, "Congratulations, Daddy." And it's such a big deal that father was able to go back and get that degree. And he says, "I did it for you." And there are ones where, "I did it for you, Mom." I just think they have completely understood the job to be done. And thus, a sleepy, nondescript university that most people have never heard of is really a giant innovation, growth, and success story now.
Terrific.
So,
thank you, Startup Nation. It's wonderful to share this time with you, and good luck in all of your entrepreneurial endeavors.
If you'd like more information about our book, we'd love you to go online at startupnation.com/competing against luck. And thanks, and good luck with your own endeavors.
Thank you.